Hello everybody, a video as a follow-on from the post that we did this morning where you saw the amazing progress that the boys have made with Tracy, who had what appeared to be an irreparable injury on the side of her face, but they've done it, they've managed. And of course the beautiful foal that we're thrilled to bits is doing so well. But I wanted to say something today. We're coming to the end of the holiday. The staff will be back tomorrow. We've had Ayub and Simo have arranged staff cover during Eid, and they've been amazing. I've had people in to look after the donkeys all the time, and for that we really are extremely grateful. It's made life so much easier for Charles and I, and it's given me time to reflect. Well, when the pandemic started, I wrote to lots of you and said, I just didn't know how we'd cope. I was so worried that without visitors, that we would just be finished and we would have to close the refuge down. The opposite has happened. We've gone from strength to strength. And with everybody pulling together, we are doing things now in Marrakesh that I never believed possible. And along the way, I've asked your advice, whether you wanted me to do this or that or the other, and I'll come on to that in a moment. But that there are two sanctuaries that look after donkeys and horses. I think one's in Denmark and one's in Spain, both run by English people, hugely successful, very popular, and I support them to the hilt. And I look at their YouTubes and their videos sometimes, and they are so much more beautiful than ours, because the reality is they have fields and they have greenery, and it is, I believe, somewhat different in Europe than it is here in Morocco. And I want people to understand that. Here in Morocco, we live here in desert conditions. And over the next day or two, I'm going to show you some videos of the infrastructure we had to put in, because without that infrastructure, we couldn't look after the animals. You know, we had to spend a fortune on digging 200 meters down for water, and an absolute fortune to have electricity laid underground. We have our own transformer house, and that's why we've been able to continue. These things are quite difficult in Morocco. It's outside Europe, it's another culture, and we have had to learn to work very closely with that culture. I would hope you know by now, I'm not the sort of person that would criticize other cultures. I try and find a way of coming together. But looking after the animals here, the main problems is food. We have to buy all our food in. They're fed 4 times a day, that they can't pasture on fields. And now we have the horses. Of course, it's so much more difficult. So that brings me on to what I promised you along the way. I remember asking very early on, when we had a problem with the Kalesh horses, what your views were over animals that could no longer work, and you made it perfectly clear that you would love to see retirement facilities. We've done it. Well, we can't take every horse in Morocco, but we've made a start. We've actually said, here in Morocco, we can retire old horses that have had injuries, and they can have a really good life. I've spoken along the way about the donkeys that come in with horrendous injuries, and we've managed. Some have died, and that has been tragic. Quite a lot have died because they're very old, and it's the way of the world. So that brings me on to the third thing. What on earth do we do with the bodies? And we've always buried them here with all due respect. And I asked you last week or the week before your views about attempting to have cremation facilities here at Georgia, and we are determined to do it. If I say we'll do something, we'll do it. It may take a while, but I promise you we'll do it. And we are waiting to talk to ONSA and various authorities before we go in for a big fundraiser. Which of course takes me on to the next point. How do we survive? We can't continue way into the future, and when Charles and I may be dead, just on personal donations. We have to find alternative ways. I think having our boutique and selling things is wonderful, not so much because the revenue it brings in, that would not keep the animals, but it spreads the word. It's very good advertising. And of course, Jennifer Watson's teddy bears, which you've seen a lot of, every baby's cot they lie on, the parents tell the story of Georgia, and that brings us additional support. Other people are wanting to do things as well, and I hope that when I eventually get to England in a week or two, oh, hooves crossed, that's been put off from June, I'm able to bring back some of the paintings and other things that people have made, so I can start advertising and broadcasting those as well. I'm sure when you see us every day, I hope you understand we don't have admin support. I do all the admin. And because we now have so much support from out there, I wish I could privately email everybody all the time, but I can't. And I have to confess, I'm only human. Sometimes when people ask for something when I'm over in England, I lose the message, and then I have a job remembering who it was. But we do our best. We really, really do try. But please bear in mind, at the moment, we do have an awful lot to do and an awful lot of admin. I'm hoping now, moving forward, we have a wonderful patron here in Morocco, Lynn Guinness, who is well known in Morocco and is quite a pillar of the community and has always been hugely supportive of us. And she will very much represent England and Morocco, so we are thrilled. We're looking to have 2 patrons in the States who I've approached, but I'm not going to disclose names at this stage. And we are very much looking at a patron in England, because the reality is that the people who support us, the largest numbers come from the States, England, and of course we get all sorts of moral support here from Morocco. Not always from other English people who live here, but I'm delighted we're getting a lot more support from the French, and of course Moroccans themselves offer a lot of moral support, and I'm really pleased that that is happening. But when it comes to raising the funds for a crematorium, I've got to get out there and do it. So I'm giving that some thought, because the next couple of years is possibly my last chance. I can get to America, and of course I can get to England, and I'm happy to come and speak to any groups about what we do if we could have a fundraising event. So please, everybody in the States, in England, would you give that some thought? I'm also looking at other sources of income, because if you remember, I spoke a while ago about having another YouTube channel where I would talk about my time at the bar and the legal work I did and some of the cases I did. And we've given that a lot of thought. And a lot of people have suggested that, given all my history, which goes way back since before the bar, it would be wonderful to write a book. Well, of course it would. And I'm sure that if I had the time, I could sit down and write a book. But writing a book and getting it published are 2 different things. So I think what we're going to do, and the boys here are all in agreement, is that we will have the alternative YouTube channel. And I will talk very much about the work I did in Liverpool, my childhood in Liverpool, my work in the trade unions, what brought us to Morocco, how our background has governed what we do in Morocco. We haven't just come to Morocco and said, oh, won't it be good to save donkeys? No, it's a continuation of everything we've done in our life. So if I do that, I hope you'll support it. And then if in a couple of years, when I'm getting even more infirm, if I put pen to paper, if we have the YouTube channel, it'll be so much easier to get a publisher. And that will be a magnificent source of income for the refuge here. Charles and I want for nothing now. We do have our pensions. And when I say we want for nothing, we still enjoy a bottle of wine. So please, if you come to Georgia, expect to share a bottle with us. But otherwise, we don't really need material things. We have everything we need. And the donkeys at the end of our life have become our life's work. And we want to leave it all in good order when we go. So I'm looking to you all to support us in the progress that we're going to make in the next year. And any suggestions we're always grateful for. And if we say we will do something, I promise you we do it. So bye for now.